One, two, 1, 2, audio check. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Motive Racing channel for tonight's action here in the Purple Sector Formula One League for round 20 of this 24-round season. We are approaching the business end of the season. Well, I've been saying this for the last few weeks, so now it's really the crucial stage of the season. We're probably a couple of races away from crowning a new champion here in the Purple Sector F1 League. It's been a season which has been, certainly the second half, has been dominated by Glenn, the Red Bull driver, who is absolutely running away in the standings. Has won the last few races. I can't remember how many races it is in a row now. It's quite a lot of races in a row that he's managed to win, but he's sat on 327 points, 74 points clear of Justify in second place. It's very, very unlikely that Glenn's going to wrap up the title here tonight, because we've got 4 races left after tonight. So with that obviously taken into account, it's, it'd be very, very impossible almost to wrap up the championship, because he'd have to score maximum points, win and fastest lap, and and also Justify would have to not finish. So it's unlikely, not impossible. Although even if he did, actually 100 points still wouldn't be enough, because there'd be 104 left on the table. So in fact, he can't do it tonight, but potentially he could set himself up very nicely to do it next Tuesday. So we could see him crown his title at Brazil next week, but it doesn't look like it's going to be just yet. But yeah, for sure, he's closing in on it. It's almost a case of when rather than if at this point. So that's the news coming into tonight. But nonetheless, let's go through the standings coming into tonight. So we've got Glenn on 327 points, 74 points clear of Justify, who is... Justify's not here. Has Justify changed his name to John Gom Jr.? Or is this a different person? Can somebody tell me? Please, somebody tell me now. What is going on? Where is Justify? Is this a reserve? What's going on? Somebody tell me. I need to know. Matty Pitt is third on 235 points, 92 points off of the Championship leader Glenn. Then we've got Davidoff in fourth on 234, only a point behind Matty Pitt. There's still 3 drivers in the battle for second in the championship. After that, we've got C. Faulkner in fifth on 155 points, with Rexy Boy in sixth on 143, Freddie seventh on 130 points, followed by T in eighth on 87. And Street Boy is ninth on 60 points ahead of Mark, who is 10th on 56. Mr. Johan 11th on 42 points ahead of G.C. in 12th on 40. Then we got Drauga in 13th on 39 points. Ruck is 14th on 28. Haven't seen either of those two for God knows how long. I'm pretty sure they left the league. Oliver is 15th on 13 points ahead of Truckee, who's P16 on 12, with White Shadow in 17th on 9 points. Ice Wolf is 18th on 1 point, and while Pluto sits with Nil Bois currently in this season in 19th place in the championship standings. I want to also say a big warm welcome back to the Purple Sector F1 League to Basin, who hasn't raced at Purple Sector since Miami this season. That was round 6. This is obviously round 20, so that's a 7-week layoff here for Basin, which is best part of a couple of months. So it's a fair old while to not be at the wheel, but he's giving it a go here at the moment. Let's see what he can do here in his reappearance race here tonight. Be interested to keep our eye on Basin and see how he gets on. We've got a few comments on YouTube right now. We've got Cheeto Cedo saying, "Yes, Andy, how's things, mate?" Thanks for the comments as always. I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, things are all right. Yeah, it's been an eventful couple of days, actually. I'll post something on Discord, actually, in a bit, which might give an indication. But yeah, it's been exciting. I'm pretty good. And yeah, it's good to see you enjoying the stream and also racing at the same time, because I know that multitasking is not always something that is very easy to do, but I'm always very impressed when people can do it. And also, we've got John Vlogs in the comments saying hello to us. So hello, John. Welcome along. As again, we're not quite sure. I think John must be John Gom Jr. I would imagine, using my intuition, that John Logs might be John Gom Jr. I don't know. Yes, Gino Ciro said he's changed his name. So John Gom Jr. is Justify, right? To confirm, just so we're absolutely sure. Oh no, John Logs is Wild Pluto. Okay. Radio. Okay, so Justify's changed his name to John Gom Jr., but John Vlogs is Wild Pluto, not John Gom Jr. Right, I've got it. I understand. Right, I'm up to date. Excellent. As we see, Glenn doing the fastest time so far in this session on a 1 minute 14.5. So continuing the trend that we've seen in the last few races, I have to say. No surprise to see Glenn at the top of the leaderboard. 3/10 clear of Matty Pitt, who sits in second place. We've got Davidoff currently in third place, just about in the 1 minute 14s. And John Gom Jr., formerly known as Justify, is currently in fourth on 1:15.0, half a second off for the fastest time. C4 now in fifth on 1:15.3 ahead of Mark, pardon me, who is sixth on 1:15.3. Then we got Freddie in seventh on 1:15.4. Rexy Boy in eighth on a 1:16.0. G.C. in 10th on a 1:16.4 ahead of White Shadow Hole, who is 11th on a 1:17.1. Razor Blade and T still yet to do lap times here in this session. Big one welcome also to Razor Blade, because this is Razor Blade's debut race here tonight. Did actually contact me on Discord in my own server, Motive Racing, which is the deadest server known to man, because I just haven't run anything on it. Although I am thinking about this, and it's something I've been considering very, very deeply recently, is I've been considering running something on Wednesdays and Sundays during the summertime, maybe when Purple Sector isn't running, because I know some of the Purple Sector guys might want to race. Also, I've got Red Arrows lot on Monday. I've told a couple of them I'm thinking about it, so we'll see. There might be some content on the channel still. I'm not sure if Red Arrows will be running on Monday. Obviously, I know the Purple Sector have a traditional 3 months off. Can't talk, can I? 3 months off during the summertime. So I think they'll probably be starting their next season in September. I don't know if they're going to have like a one-off series like they did last year, where they had the Realistic Performance League. I think that was actually on F124 this time last year, so they actually didn't have anything on in the summertime last year, if I memory serves me correctly. But anyway, we got a couple of drivers on our laps getting ready to go for another lap here. Glenn and Matty Pitt in the pits. Davidoff is just coming into the final corner here, about to start another flying lap here. John Gom Jr. has just come out of the pits and will be doing a lap in a minute or so's time. But let's jump aboard with Davidoff here. Currently third in this qualifying session and third in the championship at the moment as well. In the early part of the season was certainly a contender for the title. After his magnificent performance at Spa, where he dominated the race in the changeable conditions, that was pretty much, I think, where his season went to pot, really. After that, he completely destroyed everybody, and I was thinking to myself, how can anybody stop him this season? He's invincible. But yeah, things took a turn after that, unfortunately for Davidoff. And since then, we haven't seen him live up to his full potential. But hopefully tonight, we can see Scott delivering the goods here and returning back to his old form that we've seen him string together before, as he's currently coming through the middle sector right now. So let's see what the sector times are. That'll give us an indication of how he's doing in comparison to his previous time here. He's obviously 4/10 off of the pace, so whatever he is on improvement compared to his own time, give you an indication. There we go, he's just under 3/10 up, so if he finds a 1/10.5 in this final sector, he will be putting it on provisional pole here. Davidoff here negotiates the stadium nicely, keeps it within the white lines just there. We've got second apex. Here we go through the final corner now. Davidoff lap to the board here. Over the line he comes, and he does put it on provisional pole position by 1/10 of a second. He'll be delighted with that. Davidoff there, putting it to Glenn there, showing him that he's got some pace here tonight. He's got some confidence around this Mexico City Grand Prix circuit, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And yeah, fantastic stuff there from Davidoff. Glenn and Matty Pitt both on our laps. We've got John Gom Jr., who's on a flying lap as well. Let's jump on board. As we see only 200ths of a second up through the first sector. And he's lost time in the middle sector, so this will have to be an absolutely storming final sector here for John Gom Jr. to move ahead of anybody here. Only 2/10 off of Matty Pitt. We'll need to find at least 3/10 in this final sector to move up into third place. And he's coming into the pits, so he doesn't want to waste a set of tyres bringing it in, cutting his losses there is John Gom Jr. So P4 at the moment for him. Obviously formerly known as Justified John Gom Jr. As we see Mark coming through this final sector. And it's going to come into the pits here at the end of this current run. So in he comes. Davidoff is also on an in lap. Glenn is about to start flying up here, so the championship leader is going to try and destroy Davidoff's hopes of putting it on pole here tonight. And he comes down towards turn 1 here. So riding on board with the championship leader here, everybody will see a big look up in the car in front there. I'm not sure who that was. Let's still try to pit actually, because he's coming through the final few corners. Currently 3/10 up on his personal best. His personal best is only 4/10 off a pole, so if you can find a bit of time here in this final sector, then we could be seeing Matty Pitt go to the top of the timing board here as he comes out of the final corner now. What's the time going to be for Matty Pitt? It's just off of Glenn. So 3rd place there for Matty. 10.5 off of the provisional pole time being set by Davidoff, and about 400ths off of Glenn, so not bad at all there from Matty Pitt. Very good, in fact, I'd say, on balance. We've got Glenn coming through into the middle sector at the moment, and he's always backed out of it. He's over a second off of his personal best, so he's going to be coming into the pits end of this lap, I would have thought, unless he's backed out of this lap early and has saved the tyres. I wouldn't have thought he has, because to be only a second off your personal best, you'd have to be pushing somewhat. So yeah, Glenn coming into the pits, no surprise there. New fresh set of boots will be going on that Red Bull very shortly. As we see Matty Pitt here coming through the middle sector at the moment, currently 3rd in this session, about a 10.5 off of the fastest time being set by our original pole sitter Davidoff. John Gom Jr. currently on another outlap, so has wasted no time in putting his fresh tyres on and getting back out on the track. Maybe he wants to do 2 more runs here in this session, knows that time is of the essence to make sure that happens. Here comes John Gom Jr. then, about to start a flying lap. We've got a lap here. We've got Razor Blade out there, currently just under a second off of the pace being set by Davidoff. Not bad for a debutant here tonight. Let's hope that we see Razor Blade continue to impress us here tonight, because I've got a bit of trauma when it comes to rookies here at Pebble Sector this season. There was an incident in China. I've forgotten the name of the driver, but I remember very vividly a horrendous accident caused by one of the rookies. So yeah, let's hope that Razor Blade isn't cut from the same cloth, so to speak. But nonetheless, we've got John Gom Jr. here coming down a little straight here in the first sector. DRS obviously will be available to those a second behind the car in front during the race. It's a prime overtaking spot as well. DRS is very OP down that straight as well. But John Gom Jr. very slightly up through this first sector here, continuing through the middle sector now. Scott there, so Cherry Bakewell or some shit. Yeah. So we've got John Gom Jr. here coming through the middle sector now, and he's 2/10 up, so this could be yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, T schooled him and he just lost the plot, didn't he? I remember it. Oh god, it was embarrassing. John Gom Jr. was 2/10 up through the middle sector, so let's see if he can continue his momentum here. Can he move up into the front row? No, he can't. Misses out by 2/10 off a pole. Misses out on the front row by a 10th. But John Gom Jr. is still flat out here, so I don't know, maybe he's lifted a bit there, I'm not sure. So I don't think it's going to go for another run here on this time. I think Mike just about, he's going to be pushing as hard as he can because he needs to get in the pits to put another set of tyres on, so he might be going all in to try and do one more lap here at the end of this session. But yeah, closing stages of this qualifying session here for the Mexican Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector F1 League, and currently it's Matty Pitt who's on an outlap here, getting ready to go for another run. We've got Glenn here who's just coming out of the pits as well, so he'll be looking to try and take that pole away. He has been a formidable force over the last few races. Glenn has been delivering an absolutely phenomenal string of results. I want to actually check to see how many races it is that he's won in a row, because it's a lot of races that he's won recently. So he didn't win Singapore. Or Baku actually, but he won 3 in a row before that. He also won the last race since the summer break. Glenn has taken, well, not the summer break, but you know what I mean, like the mid-season break actually, because the mid-season break is at a different time from the summer break. So the mid-season break was after round 12, the summer break is after round 14. But in the Purple Sector F1 League mid-season break, since then, Glenn took the win at Hungary, won again in the Netherlands, then won again in Italy, and then took another win in the USA. So, yeah, 4 races Glenn has won since the season break. Yeah, 4 out of 6 so far for Glenn since the mid-season break, which is absolutely phenomenal form from him. And yeah, as we say, 2 wins or 2 races where he didn't win. That was obviously Singapore, where C. Faulkner managed to take the win, and Davidoff did win at Belgium. And what I mentioned earlier was his last real strong successful race, although he was second in Italy, but it was a very depleted field, and I have to say that one was, oh god, I hate commentating on that one. Oh my god, that was awful, because I think it was only 8 people turned up in the end. But yeah, other than that, it's been great all season. You've always had at least 12 drivers out on the track. That was a low point. I think there was some kind of football match on. I can't remember what it was. Champions League, I think. But anyway, here is our championship leader coming through towards almost into the final sector now. Let's see what we can do. Oh, Matty Pitt's gone pole. Look at that. Where has that come from? The reigning champion of the Purple Sector F1 League, the league owner here, has blown them all out of the water. That came from absolutely nowhere. Now Glenn is coming to the final corner, but he's 3 tenths down through the middle sector, so I don't think it's going to be pole. Glenn has backed out of it. It's going to be third at best there for him. Davidoff is out there, but he's way down on his personal best through the first sector. Surely he's going to have to just coast around, try and save the tyres here and go for another run, because he's a million miles away from pole. John Gom Jr. is also in the pits as well. So I don't think anybody's going to be able to deny Matty Pitt here. Matty Pitt has pulled one out of the bag from absolutely nowhere. What a phenomenal lap there from Matty Pitt. As we see Davidoff here, he's coming through the final 3 corners. Does he go for another lap, or is he going to bring it into the pits? He hasn't retired from the session, which would suggest he's staying out. No, he's not. He's in the pits. So that's it. That's it. Unless C. Faulkner can find a miracle lap from somewhere, it's going to be Matty Pitt on pole for the Mexican Grand Prix. And I must admit, I didn't clock he was on a lap there, but he was only a 10th and a half off of Davidoff's time, and he's improved by just over 2 tenths in that final sector there. So fantastic job there from him. C. Faulkner has found 4 tenths of a second through the middle sector. That just goes to show how stoppy his original middle sector must have been, because he was down on this lap in the first sector. So what a shame that C. Faulkner couldn't string together the right sector times when it mattered. But nonetheless, coming out around the final corner, let's see what he can do here. C. Faulkner over the line, stays P8. Oh, it's an invalid lap time. It's an invalid lap there for C. Faulkner, so dipped into the 114. Would have been P5 if it had been valid, but the best of the rest crown goes to Freddie this week for P5. But it's the usual suspects in the top 4: Matty Pitt, Davidoff, Glenn, and formerly known as Justified John Gom Jr. So that is that then. That's the qualifying session here for tonight's Mexican Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector F1 League, and it's Matty Pitt who will be lining up on pole, the reigning champion, and one of the 4 main contenders each week here. I have to say there's the big 4. They're like they're essentially, I know I'm going back way back in F1 times, but they're like the Hamilton, Alonso, Raikkonen, Massa of F1 2007. That's what they are. But anyway, that is that for the I'm just showing how ancient I am at this point. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that is that then for the qualifying session here tonight. And Matty Pitt there taking pole by just under a tenth of a second over Davidoff. So not particularly marginal, but I wouldn't say that he was miles ahead. Gino Silo says very classy from Matty there. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more there, G.C. He pulled it out of the bag when it was absolutely needed. And a really good job there from the reigning champion. But Matty Pitt, Davidoff, Glenn, and John Gom Jr., they are top four with Freddie P5 and Basin sixth. And we're looking forward to a very exciting race here in Mexico City. So here we go then, guys. We are moments away from the start. We all know that pole position here can be a little bit sketchy because it's such a long run down to turn one. If you don't get a perfect start, you can be very vulnerable into turn one. History has shown us that starting third here can often be the best place because you can get a double slipstream, although that can be negated if the two cars in front of you are both slipstreaming each other. So let's see what happens here tonight. Obviously, as well, this is a game rather than real life, so it could also be could change things up a bit. But nonetheless, we're about to get going for the formation lap. And we can just see David Croft there taking us through a little intro. I said before, Crofty's bit is actually pre-recorded here. He's not actually sat here with me. As exciting as that would be, he couldn't make it tonight. So yeah, I'm the shoe-in commentator. But nonetheless, I hope that I can enthrall you with some fascinating summarisation of the race. So here we go then, lining up on the grid, moments away from the start of the Mexican Grand Prix here, the Purple Sector Formula 1 League Season 12, round 20 of 24 for Season 12. And it's going to be a case of whether Glenn can solidify his chance. He'll probably get next week to try and go for the title at Brazil. This week, he's just got to continue his momentum. Here we go, lights are on at the head of the grid. We're about to go racing here for the Mexican Grand Prix. And it's lights out, we're underway. And Matty Pitt there didn't get a fantastic start, I have to say. Davidoff was, I think, slightly quicker off the line as we come down towards turn one. They're side by side here. Davidoff's got well alongside him here. It's got the inside line to turn one. But here comes John Gom Jr. looking down the inside of both of them there as Davidoff has the lead into turn one. Matty Pitt keeps it around the outside into second place. Glenn's moved ahead of John Gom Jr. up into third. So actually, he managed to get the position back there because he obviously started ahead of him. But Basin and Marker here are going side by side down towards turn four. And yeah, Mark there stays ahead of him for the time being. We've got G.C. there running in ninth place ahead of C4 and has just made that move up the inside. Razor Blade has got around the outside of Basin there after the chicane. So Razor Blade making a good start to our purple sector F1 career. We see a big slide there from Basin onto the power, and G.C. trying to go down the inside, but Basin there trying to keep it around the outside there, couldn't do it, and G.C. is up into 8th place there in that one. But in the meantime, Davidoff has the lead after getting the slightly better start there than Matty Pitt. I said at the beginning how starting on pole can be a disadvantage around this track. We've seen it before, we're seeing it again right now, because Matty Pitt, although he didn't get a terrible start, just had no chance of defending the position because it's such a long run down to turn one, and because Davidoff got that fractionally better start, he was able to make the most of it. On any other track, it probably would have still been side by side by turn one, but obviously around this track, it's such a long run. You know, he was clearly ahead by the time they got to turn one, and there was nothing that Matty could do. So Davidoff leads, but Matty's still within DRS at the moment. Glenn is hassling the back of Matty right now. John Gom Jr., Freddie keeping the big four honest at the moment, is sticking to the back of them so far here in this race. Mark has managed to keep the gap to Razor Blade reasonably large at the moment. G.C. is about a second behind him, with Basin ahead of C. Faulkner and T about a second behind those guys, with Rexy Boy and White Shadow at the back of the pack. But at the end of this lap, that'll be the DRS enabled, so that will mean that we'll be able to see some overtaking down the start-finish straight. Can Davidoff break that 1 second barrier which he needs in order to be safe from the advances of Matty Pitt, the pole sitter, who's going to be keeping him very much on his toes here throughout this first stint? Let's get the tyre graphic up and see what people are on. So they've all started on the medium tyres. There's no difference in strategy here tonight. Everybody's opted for a similar path to the checkered flag so far anyway. But I wonder if anybody's going to go for the softs as opposed to the hards for the second stint. That will be an interesting one later on in the race to watch. But for the time being, Davidoff leading ahead of Matty Pitt. Matty in the slipstream here. We'll have DRS as well down the start-finish straight. Is he going to have a crack into turn one? He might think about it, but he's a little bit too far away just at the moment, and he's not going to be close enough to make a lunge into turn one. As Glenn there in the background closing up onto them, John Gom and Freddie also keeping close. Mark raised the blade, G.C. There's Basin ahead of C. Faulkner with T. Rexy Boy and White Shadow there at the back of the pack at the moment, but Matty Pitt breathing down the neck of Davidoff here. Glenn those closer to Matty than Matty is to Davidoff. John Gom Jr. is looking racy here in the background as well, and we've seen John Gom Jr. many times over the course of this season. Can be a bit of a dark horse in some races. It was in the mid part of the season the fastest qualifier, I have to say, but qualifying pace has kind of gone off the boil, but still a formidable force, you have to say. Still certainly is going to be in contention for this win, especially with the slipstream and the DRS around this track. These guys are going to be unlikely to fall out of the battle at this stage. But as the stint goes on, drivers will start to lose control of their tyres. That's when we will see. That's when that will separate the best from the rest once that starts to occur. But anyway, coming through the final corner is Matty Pitt looking very close here to the back of Davidoff. He's surely going to make a move here. He's very close to him, and he's going to get that DRS and the slipstream. He's going to breeze past him there. Matty Pitt up into the lead. Is now Glenn is going to try and come for both of them now. Is Glenn going to make a move here on Davidoff? He's going to look somebody inside. He's going to back out of that one. He thinks better of it. And Matty Pitt, though, does make the move up into the lead. And it's Matty Pitt now leading ahead of Davidoff. Glenn there right behind them as C. Faulkner has made the move on G.C. into turn one and is up into 9th place. So C. Faulkner there making some headway after not the best of qualifying. Obviously, did a lap that would have been good enough for P5, but that was invalidated. So in the end, he started down in 9th or 10th, I think it was. Didn't have a great first lap, but it's got back ahead of G.C. for the time being. We go back to the leaders here because it is oh so close here. First down to 7th place, and also on the previous lap. Just one thing to note, Razor Blade did the fast step for the race there as Mark there getting it. Oh no, it's John Gom! Oh, John Gom, I thought that was the other McLaren of Mark. Oh no, John Gom Jr. there, we saw losing it going through the S's and has binned it into the wall. Safety cars out on lap 4 of the race. That's going to open up the strategy now. Is anybody going to come in for the hard tyres at this stage? Surely we're too far out to go for the hard tyres. Looks like all the front runners are staying out. Sorry guys, that's my voice just gave way again. It's actually much better than it was on Tuesday. On Tuesday I could barely talk and I was just talking like basically under my breath the whole time, but it's got past the point of being debilitated, but it's still got the propensity to break at certain points. So give me a minute and I'm just going to get myself back together again. Jesus Christ. Right, then welcome back everybody, apologies for that. I just had to quickly just recover my vocals again because for those of you who don't know, I had a very sore throat the other day, and although I've got past the point where it affects my speech, it does still at the moment have a propensity to just fall apart, and I just go into a coughing fit where I just can't stop and just end up like with saliva pouring down my throat and stuff, and it becomes impossible to talk or even breathe. But yeah, it's all right for now. We're back to normal again. We've taken a deep breath and we're going to go again. But luckily we got the safety car coming in this lap, so here we go then. Moments away from the restart here at Mexico City, and it's going to be Matty Pitt getting us back underway again, having retaken the lead off of Davidoff. Obviously Davidoff did take the lead a few moments ago, off of the line on the first lap, but then Matty Pitt repassed him before the safety car came out. Now we're back underway, but we know no DRS for the first lap, so for the entirety of lap 7 we'll see no DRS, and then for some of lap 8 we will, and then all of lap 9 we'll be back underway with some lovely DRS. Here we go then, as we come down the start finish straight again here. Slipstream here playing into the hands of the drivers behind Matty Pitt, but no one's close enough to make a move into turn 1. And we see G.C there moving ahead of C. Fortner, so he's flown off of the line on this restart around the outside of his teammate, and C. Fortner's not going to be too happy about that, but he's going to try and come back at him here, but he's too far back as G.C got a much better exit there out of that chicane. So now they come down to the next chicane. It's Matty Pitt ahead of Davidoff with Glenn and Freddie in hot pursuit at the moment. And obviously Freddie now up into 4th place after we saw the unfortunate incident involving John Gom Jr., who crashed out of the race a few moments ago, which was the reason for the safety car and the reason why we've been on a radio silence for the last few minutes. Well, partly it was because of my voice, but also the safety car conveniently allowed me to recover if I otherwise wouldn't have. But anyway, Davidoff here is very close on Matty Pitt, so I do apologise. I should stop making this all about me because it really isn't. But anyway, Davidoff here, very close on Matty Pitt. Is he going to be close enough to make a move here? Because we know with DRS you can make a move on the car in front if you're about 6-7 tenths behind. Without DRS, I'll be interested to see, because the DRS doesn't actually come into effect until the second straight after turn 3. So let's see what Davidoff can do here. He's not really closing in at the rate that one would really hope for if you were planning on making a move. So he's going to have to wait a little bit longer here. Oh, it's Freddie looking down the inside of Clem and makes it up to 3rd place. Freddie did not need a second invitation there. Clem went a little bit wide, and Freddie said, "Thank you very much, Glenn. That'll be mine." And he can now pull up behind his teammate here. So the Williams guys in 2nd and 3rd places at the moment. Freddie there taking full advantage of the situation. There's Mark there, who's running just ahead of Razor Blade, who's driving an absolute cracker of a debut at the moment, currently in the top half of the leaderboard, running in P6. Currently, as things stand, on course for 8 points in the championship. So really good debut from Razor Blade so far. Hopefully it can continue. A top 5 would be absolutely phenomenal in a debut race. But in the meantime, we've got to watch these guys, Matty Pitt and Davidoff, running pretty close here as Davidoff swoops around the outside there, coming into the stadium section, and is now up into the lead. So he left himself quite vulnerable here, because making that move through the stadium is a bit of a risk, because you're now going to be open to DRS. So Matty's going to get the DRS on him down the straight. I suppose he made the move with DRS himself, but now he's giving it straight to Matty Pitt. Here we come then, and the Mercedes is going to get closer and closer, pulls to the inside now. Matty is going to take the leader into turn 1. So Davidoff there obviously did a nice move. The problem is the first DRS zone and the second DRS zone both use the same detection point. So Matty's now going to get a second bite of DRS down this straight towards the chicane. So that's going to be a real ball ache here for Davidoff, because he's now got to basically sit there and in the slipstream, knowing that Matty Pitt's going to get a second bite of DRS. But nonetheless, we continue on. Davidoff might want to wait until the main straight to make a move this time, because making a move down this next DRS zone only really serves to cause you pain around this circuit. But nonetheless, Matty and Davidoff separated by only 4 tenths of a second. Davidoff is way quicker through this part of the track than Matty as well. Is he going to make the move in the same part of the track? No, he thinks better of it this time. He's playing the smart game. He's a wise man, is Davidoff. He doesn't need to make the same mistake twice. He learns from these little these little things. They're not major things. They're not. It ain't deep, but it's just, you know, he's learning from it. But anyway, Davidoff here in the slipstream with the DRS. He's going to make this move. I'll be very surprised if Davidoff isn't leading the race by the time we get to turn one. Here we go, getting the slipstream, getting that massive overspeed, and he's going to now pull to the inside line, and that's going to be job done there for Davidoff up into P1. Freddie and Glenn still waiting in the background. There's Mark, has raised the blade, has got back ahead of Basin. Basin giving Race the Blade a good play here. Actually, these two are teammates as well, which is interesting. It's good to see that the newcomer is being teamed up with the driver who's obviously returning to the league after half a season out. And yeah, these two running very close behind Mark at the moment. So this is really the battle for best of the rest, the top four. Obviously, Freddie's joined that battle now. Freddie's actually a driver who tends to battle the main contenders in the races. He doesn't always have the quali pace, but he's got a lot of grit as Freddie. I'll tell you what, in the races he usually steps it up a little bit. What's funny is that Freddie is, in purple sector, probably slightly off of the average pace of the likes of Matty Pitt and Davidoff and whatnot, Glenn. But interestingly, in Motive's F1 League, where you had some insanely quick drivers in there, Freddie was usually the one who would take the fight to them the best. So he's somebody who, I think, he rises to the occasions when the pressure's on, when he has to deliver. He's one of those people. He really grits his teeth and gets on with it. But nonetheless, we see Raise the Blade here has got Basin within half a second as they come down the straight. We see Matty Pitt and Freddie are side by side. They're going through turn one. Freddie trying to go around the outside of turn two, can't do it, thinks better of it, and he's not. Would he get DRS down this straight? Was he behind him? Seeing as Matty Pitt gets DRS as well on Davidoff. So nothing doing there for him. In the meantime, Judos moved ahead of T up into 9th place as they come through turns 1 and 2. Basin has got ahead of Raise the Blade now up into 5th. So the battle between the two Aston Martins continues to rage on here for P5 and 6. But Davidoff is your leader ahead of Matty Pitt, with Freddie keeping these guys in very close contention at the moment. And Glenn is really not letting them off the hook either, although Freddie has just dropped a little bit off of the pace here through this middle sector. He's now just over a second behind Matty Pitt. Let's see if he can get himself back in to that DRS range before we get to the next DRS zone. Because this is a great battle here out the front. Oh, there's a little bit of a slide there from Freddie coming into the stadium section. Glenn will surely be looking to try and capitalise on this as we're coming through the final corner here. Let's see as they come onto the start finish straight now. So Glenn with the DRS is very likely going to make this move here on Freddie. Here we go. And that is it then. Blasts past him. And up into 3rd place goes Glenn. Davidoff and Massey there in the foreground. Glenn there running in 3rd ahead of Freddie. There's Basin ahead of Raise the Blade with C Faulkner there running just behind them. Rexy Boy just under a second ahead of Gio running in 9th place. There's T, and then you've got White Shadow and Mark running in P12, having put the hard tyres on. So Glenn now ahead of Freddie, but Freddie keeping him within DRS threat at the moment, so certainly not out of the battle for the podiums, and I wouldn't count him out of the win either, to be honest, as Davidoff here has almost broken the 1 second barrier to Matty Pitt, so this is crucial now. If Davidoff can get out of a second to Matty, then he could really be setting himself up nicely for the win here. It would be his first win since Spa earlier this season if he could win here tonight, so no pressure, Scott, but yeah, currently he's doing a very, very solid job at the moment. More importantly, he's doing a splendid job, I would say, actually. So Matty Pitt has picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That's going to be a real kick in the teeth there for him, as he's losing touch with Davidoff as we speak, as Glenn now has got the DRS down the start finish straight. He's going to make the move here down towards turn 1, and that's Glenn up into 2nd place, and now he can try and chase after Davidoff. He'll also get DRS down the 2nd straight as well towards turn 4, so Glenn is going to get the double benefit there. I'm sure he'll be happy about that. Now he can give Davidoff a real run for his money in these next few laps. The gap just over a second at the moment. It's very marginal at this point. As Raise the Blade's got back ahead of Basin as we see them, and in fact Basin's now had to hold on from C Faulkner there, so C Faulkner almost had a crack there at Basin, but Basin almost lost 2 places, ended up just losing out to his teammate Raise the Blade. see what there's got 3 seconds left. Got track limits, so that now takes the number of drivers' penalties to 5. Matty Pitts, no T, G.C. and White Show Hold. All getting penalties. T-Dez moved over G.C. In fact, G.C. crashed out. That is why we got a safety car here. The front wing is lodged in the barriers, and that is very unfortunate over there because that obviously takes the strategy element out a little bit. But we're going to see everybody coming in, I think, for hard tyres now. Davidoff's in, so's Glenn, Matty Pitt, Freddie also in, Matt Basin. Basin is staying out and going for track position here. So Basin's rolling the dice, probably hoping we have another safety car here. But we'd need probably maybe 1 or 2, and it needs to be very well timed. So Basin's rolling the dice here, a bit of a gamble. It is a real gamble as well, but Basin's going for it. So Basin now leading the race. Davidoff's come out on fresh hard tyres in second, Glenn third, Matty fourth. Mark already came in 3 laps to go for hard tyres, so he's going to have 3 lap older tyres than the rest, but has now got track position on a lot of these drivers, so that could be beneficial. Freddie's come out behind Mark. That's going to be really frustrating there for him. Raise the Blade is 7th ahead of Steve Faulkner, who's 8th. Then we've got Rexy Boy, who's put the hard tyres on, currently running P9, ahead of White Shadow at T and G.C. running in P12, a long way behind them there in 12th place. But long way to go here in this one, but that's the first stint basically done. Basin on those medium tyres will need to pit because he's not used the hard tyres yet. He's not used any tyre other than the medium, and obviously for those of you who know Formula 1, you know that you've got to use 2 different tyre compounds in a dry race. So Basin's got to be paying his pit crew a visit at some point over the next 22 laps, but when that's going to be is entirely up to him. He's coming in now. He's coming in now, so he's... I don't want to say bottled it, but... I mean, he's coming in. So Basin is hitting, and... soft tyres, what? Hey? What's going on there? That... Well... I mean... Well, I don't know what to say. I'm a little bit mystified about that one. That is peculiar, I have to say. Well, I think he definitely is going to need another safety car. The problem is, even if he were to get track position, if everyone else pitted, it still wouldn't be able to get to the end. So I don't really know what the advantage to that is. That to me smells of a miscue on the keypad. Nonetheless, we're moments away from the restart here for this Mexican Grand Prix. It's going to be Davidoff to get us back underway here, with Glenn right behind him there in second place. Matty Pitt with his 3-second penalty is in P3 ahead of Mark, got up by Freddie. Got Raise the Blade there right behind the leaders. Here tonight, really good job keeping these experienced veterans honest. C. Faulkner up to 7th after a shaky start to the race. Rexy Boy 8th, White Shadow 9th, T in P10, Basin on those soft tyres 11th place, and G.C. in P12. Here we are then, back underway. And Glenn really did react well to Davidoff's restart here. He's not very far behind at all into turn 1, only 0.3 of a second as they hit the first apex. Well, Davidoff certainly didn't, but Glenn did. And Davidoff there still managed to get actually a decent run through that first complex, despite missing the apex of turn 1 by about at least 2 metres there, as we now down towards turn 4 at the end of the straight. And Glenn keeping Davidoff on his toes at the moment. He's pushing him pretty hard, less than 3 or 4 tenths of a second as they came through the exit of the chicane, through the hairpin we go. The gap is very, very tight here between these two. Glenn is looking to try and pile the pressure on the back of Davidoff as soon as he possibly can here. Glenn wants to maximise his points and put himself in a position where he can potentially take the championship next week at Brazil. 74 points the gap going into tonight. Obviously there's 100 points left on the table after tonight. John Gom Jr. is out of the race, which could mean that if Glenn wins and gets the fastest lap, he'll extend the gap to 100 points. The fastest lap points as well would play in the favour of John Gom, so it'd be 104 points left on the table, which would mean that Glenn wouldn't take the title. But the championship would still be on the line after tonight, albeit it would take some kind of miracle from John Gom Jr. He'd have to win every single race and get the fastest lap for at least one of them. But Glenn here looking to seize the initiative here as they come out of turn 3. The DRS will be available, would it? Oh no, because it's one detection point, and the detection point is at the end of the second lap. Sorry, at the end of the first lap. So we don't get DRS until the straight before the stadium section, which is a very short straight. You have to be right behind the car in front to make a move down there, otherwise it's impossible. So yeah, he's going to have to be very close to make a move there. And even if you do, it's almost rewardless, because you're then vulnerable to the DRS from the car behind down the start-finish straight. So it's basically you can't really win with this DRS zone. You might as well just use it to get closer to the car in front and wait. But here they come then through into the stadium now. Davidoff, Glenn, Matty Pitt, the top 3 separated by under a second at the moment. Bit of a gap back to Mark there, already in 4th place ahead of Freddie. We've raised the blade, C. Faulkner, Rexy Boy. Those guys are all battling over 4th place. But here are the leaders over the line here to start lap 18 of the race. Glenn is getting a bit closer. He's got the slipstream. He's got the DRS. Here he goes. He's going to pull to the inside. This is surely going to be job done here for Glenn. I can't see any defence that Davidoff's going to make here. And he makes the move into turn 1. He'll get DRS now as well down the second straight, which will allow him to cement his position in the lead. And Davidoff's going to watch out, because Matty Pitt will have a run here down the straight. Can Matty Pitt knock Davidoff while he's down? I don't think he can. Davidoff got a good exit there out of that corner, and he's going to hold on here into this next braking zone. But Glenn is out the front. Davidoff and Matty there in second and third places. Freddie there's moved ahead of Mark up into 4th place. You can see their razor blade still right there with them in P6. C. Faulkner, Rexy Boy not far away. There's T and Basin there running in 9th and 10th places. G.C. and White Shadow Hole there right behind him. But Glenn and Davidoff separated by not much. Matty Pitt still right there with them as well. So they come in through the on a couple of corners. So Glenn here currently just out of DRS here. And actually Davidoff hasn't, he hasn't got it. So he was out of that. No, he's got it. He has got it. So he was just about within the detection point. Obviously dropped out of second for a minute, but already managed to bag the DRS. But Matty Pitt's still having a crack anyway. Looking to the inside, a little bit too far away there is Matty. As in the background there, Mark's made the move there up into 4th place there ahead of Freddie. Raised the blade, still waiting in the wings. Basin has made the move on T as well, up into 9th place. White Shadow Hull's got ahead of G.C. up into turn 1 as well, into 11th place. So there's drama everywhere, there's action wherever you look at the moment in this Purple Sector F1 League. We can see now the Aston have raised the blade, having to defend from C. Faulkner, who's looking pretty racy there around the outside, couldn't make the move. Is anybody going to have a look into the hairpin? Doesn't look like it just at the moment. They're all holding firm for the time being. T is still close on the back of Basin, and G.C. hasn't let White Shadow off the hook despite making that move, White Shadow, a few corners ago. But Glenn is out the front here. Oh, Matty Pitt's got another penalty. So that's now 6 seconds worth of penalties that he's picked up so far in this race. Glenn's got a 3-second penalty, as Raised the Blade's also got a penalty, but he's trying to move here on Freddie, and almost made the move there. Freddie squeezed Raised the Blade out and said, no, not happening. No rookie's going to do that to me, at least not yet, anyway. And Raised the Blade has had to back out of that one, but Raised the Blade's going to look to try and have another crack here at Freddie, potentially down the straight, as T there's moved ahead of Basin up into 9th place, and Basin's coming into the pits here at the end of lap 20. How are we on lap 20 already? This race is absolutely flown by. I tell you what, some races they go on forever. This one's flown by. I can't believe it's lap 20 already. We're already over halfway through the race, and it feels like it's only just started. But in the meantime, Davidoff has that lead down towards the the second braking zone, heavy braking zone. But here comes Matty Pitt to try and make a move on Glenn. Going outside there, not going to make that happen. Maybe a switch back here into the hairpin. Not quite there. Matty Pitt having to wait a little bit longer here on the back of Glenn. Both of these two have penalties, which is going to hurt both of them in the battle for the win, because Davidoff has got currently no penalties at this point, so is in the prime position right now. Just has to keep it together through this final half of the race. They're all going to have DRS here on Davidoff. The top three have broken away truly from Mark. Freddie running on the back of Mark. They're in fourth and fifth places, these two, Raise the Blade and T. Faulkner, with Rexy Boy at the back of this quintet of cars here, battling over fourth place. So here we go then, down the start finish straight once again. Glenn with the DRS here on the back of Davidoff. Still just a little bit too far away there as they go into turn one. C. Faulkner moved ahead of Raise the Blade again as Freddie back ahead of Mark into turn one, using that DRS to full effect there as Freddie. But C. Faulkner there moving up into sixth place as well, with Raise the Blade losing out. They've all got DRS though on the cars in front, but nothing doing. Although C. Faulkner getting close to Mark, not close enough. Back to the leaders here, Davidoff, Glenn and Matty Pitt still giving each other a great fight here out the front. Still a long way to go here in this race. Oh, it's Raise the Blade has picked up another penalty. And that's now 6 seconds worth of penalties here for Raise the Blade. So that's going to be a real ball ache there. But still right with the battle for fourth place. But that's going to definitely drop Raise the Blade out of a chance of winning, or rather finishing in amongst this pack. It's going to be, I think, P8 at best as things stand. As Glenn's making a move here on Davidoff in towards turn one. He's made it stick there as Glenn into the turn one. So with the DRS open there, the Red Bull driver, the championship leader, has gone and retaken P1 again. Davidoff, though, not going to be giving up on this one. Bason's now got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. So the track limits penalties are being handed out left, right and centre at the moment. Of the 12 drivers left in the race, 8 of them have picked up at least one penalty. 3 of them have got 2. As Raise the Blade there moving ahead of C. Faulkner. And C. Faulkner getting absolutely mugged there. Rexy Boy trying to go around the outside. The Ferrari there managing to keep the grip, and has done brilliantly there. Well, C. Faulkner with a slightly better exit out of the corner. They're still side by side. Is Rexy Boy going to be able to complete this move? Actually, he's giving him a lot of space there, but he does get that move done, and Rexy Boy is up into 7th place. Has just about dropped out of DRS though to Raise the Blade, which could maybe make him vulnerable here to C. Faulkner, because now C. Faulkner's got another free crack to try and come back, but a little bit too far away coming into the stadium, and Rexy Boy has that one held on to at the moment. So beautifully done there from Rexy Boy. In the meantime, Glenn coming down the start finish straight with about a 2 or 3 tenth gap here to Davidoff, as now Davidoff here has made the move to the inside, up into the lead, and that is routine stuff there from Davidoff. As now Mark has moved back ahead of Freddie as well, up into 4th. And here comes Rexy Boy, looking to the inside, too far back there on Raise the Blade. Raise the Blade came back at Rexy Boy, actually down the straight, up into P6. There goes Raise the Blade, who goes very wide there. And that would have been another track limit warning there for Raise the Blade. So Raise the Blade there, just maybe getting a bit excited. It's a debut here tonight for Raise the Blade. We can't forget that. Must not forget that, because obviously it's not easy on your debut, but yeah, things kind of just getting a little bit heated at the moment, I have to say. But Rexy Boy's still right on the back of these at the moment. Still right on the back of Raise the Blade, with C. Faulkner very, very close as well at this moment in time. But Raise the Blade's had a very solid debut so far. Still a long way to go though. So down the start finish straight again, it's Glenn there making a move, predictably with that DRS. We've seen it lap after lap after lap. Glenn and Davidoff here trading places I think it's going to be a case of strategically making sure you're in the right place at the right time. Come the checkered flag here. I think that's going to be what wins the race. It's going to be about being in the right place at the right time. Leaders coming up towards the stadium section once again. C. Fulton has now got a penalty, another penalty there. 6 seconds worth now. C. Fulton's name. White Shadow's got 9 seconds worth. So we're seeing plenty of wrath of stewards being handed out here tonight, I'll tell you that. Raise the Blade has got a 3-second penalty there for track limits. So that's another penalty there. 9 seconds now for Raise the Blade. That is, wow, I mean, it's shown pace, I'll say that, as we see Rexy Boy up into P6 down the straight, and C4 is also going to follow Rexy Boy through there, so Raise the Blade there in 2 places, Rexy Boy up into 6th, C4 into 7th place here, as we see Matty Pitt is still trying to race here with Davidoff, despite obviously not having a penalty. Obviously Davidoff knows that with Clem being ahead, it's not going to matter too much at the moment, because Clem has that 3-second penalty, Davidoff has none. So that will be a massive boost here for Davidoff, knowing that he can just sit behind Clem for the last 11 and a bit laps of this race, and he basically has the win sewn up. As long as he doesn't break his concentration and get a track limits violation of his own, that would be catastrophic at this point here for Clem. We see Davidoff there making a move to the inside of Clem into turn 1, and he's made that one brilliantly there. There's Davidoff. In the meantime, Marcus moved ahead of Freddie as well. C. Fulton has got ahead of Rexy Boy down the straight. Raise the Blade still waiting in the wings here behind these two. C. Fulton has got a fair few penalties, so if C. Fulton gets another one, then that could become a battle between C. Fulton and Raise the Blade for P7. Rexy Boy will get P6 by default. There's Freddie here making a move to the inside of Mark, and he's going to try and make that one stick there. Mark trying to hold it on the inside, can't do it. Freddie swoops around the outside there into 4th place, and that is job done there. So fantastic move there from Freddie. Not an easy place to make that overtake. Obviously, it was way past the DRS zone. Had to do that through a bit of manoeuvrability there, I have to say. Well done there to Freddie. As the leaders come out of the final corner here, about to start lap 27 of the race. Here we go then, Clen making the move to the inside of Davidoff, and that's now a lead again there for Clen. Matty Pitt waiting in the background. Freddie's got enough of a gap to Mark here to hold on for 4th into turn 1. Fulton there in P6 out of Rexy Boy, and Raise the Blade there at the back of his train of cars from 4th down to 8th. It's still a 5-car battle here. It's been like this now for a number of laps. Absolutely excellent stuff here between these drivers. And superb racing here from the top 3. Clen, Davidoff and Matty Pitt. These 3 have been in a league of their own here, especially in this second stint. Freddie was holding on to them in the first, but in his second stint, the hard tyres, these 3 are untouchable around this Mexico City Grand Prix circuit. It's still currently Clen leading the way. We come into the closing stages here of this Mexican Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector F1 League here for Season 12, round 20 of 24. Clen, as it stands, on the road to taking another step closer to what seems to be an inevitable championship after tonight. As it stands right now, will be 99 points clear with 4 races left and 104 points left on the table. No sprint races at purple sector saying that Dallas just made the move, so it'll be 92 points at this exact moment. But it's going to be somewhere around 90 points, the gap in the championship between Clen and Justify, or rather John Gom Jr. as we're known now. So that's going to mean the writing is pretty much on the wall. He just has to make sure he turns up, essentially, in the next few races. As Matty Pitt has got another penalty. So Matty Pitt has got 9 seconds, and at that exact moment, Freddie got a penalty. So if it wasn't, obviously, wow, I guess it's all what ifs, isn't it? It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But I was going to say, because if Matty had a 9-second penalty and Freddie was only 11 seconds behind, that could have been a bit of an impetus there for Freddie to get within those 9 seconds. Now, obviously, he'd have to be within 6 seconds. But then again, he wasn't to know that Matty Pitt was about to get a penalty. So it's one of them. It's one of them. And probably couldn't have done anything about it anyway, because, to be honest, you know, you mistakes happen, and actually when the pressure's on, sometimes you make more mistakes. So sometimes when you know you haven't got, when you know you need to not get a penalty, sometimes it's easier to get a penalty. You know what I mean? It's not always easy. But Mark Nice has made the move here on Freddie down the straight into turn 1. Has gone around the outside up into 4th place. Faulkner and Race the Blade here, still in the background, still waiting in the wings, pretty close. See Faulkner with some DRS now down the straight towards the first chicane. It's the second chicane, should I say. Looks to the outside now. Is Faulkner going to try and go around the outside here? Freddie, that's not going to happen there. Freddie too alert for that one. That's never going to happen in a million years. As Raise the Blade still providing this pressure here on the back of C Faulkner as well. So trying to get back involved in this. Raise the Blade has also got ahead of Rexy Boy. So Rexy Boy still at the back of this quintet, but as we said, Rexy Boy with no penalties will clear all of these guys except Mark. So Mark is likely to finish in P4 here, but Rexy Boy will be P5 as things stand at the moment, with Freddie likely to be the P6 driver at the end of this. And Raise the Blade, I reckon, will be close for P8 actually, because T's running in 9th, is currently about 6.5, 7 seconds behind Raise the Blade, so that'll be very tight right at the end. As Davidoff once again has made the move on Clem down the straight up into the lead, and has a bit of DRS as well for good measure. Freddie's made the move back on Mark here into turn 1, and he's going to get a bit of DRS here to help pull away. Now C4 is surely going to try and knock Mark while he's down here. The gap only 2.5 tenths. Quarter of a second there between those two. Here comes C4 now. He's going to make a move to the inside. Surely he's going to follow his teammate through. Sorry, he's not his teammate. Ugh, Freddie's in a Williams, for God's sake. But yeah, he gets around the outside on the left there. The C4 up into 5th place. C4 and his teammate G.C. And he's currently running in P10, currently scoring a point for his troubles at the moment. But Mark knows he doesn't need to fight these guys who are ahead of him, because they've both got penalties. All he needs to do is sit behind them. But the thing is, if he drops behind these guys, that will allow Rexy Boy to pull up onto the back of him. And Rexy Boy is fighting Mark for position, because those two have both got no penalties. So Raise the Blade here, looking down the inside of Mark. Oh, was this contact there? Raise the Blade just went a little bit too aggressive there down the inside, coming in towards the stadium section. And unfortunately there for Raise the Blade, after a really promising debut here tonight, has lost control of the car. Saying that though, T's made a big mistake and has dropped behind G.C. So actually the gap is now still reasonable here between Raise the Blade and the others, although as it stands would be passed by G.C. by the end of the race with the penalties, as Mark has made the move back on C4 and up into P5. And Mark will also get DRS on Freddie as well down this straight, but Freddie has DRS because he was behind Faulkner, I think, at the previous detection point. So it's all going off here in his final few laps of the race. Rexy Boy up into P7. Raise the Blade needs to extend that gap from what it is 5 seconds up to 6 seconds before the end of the race if he wants to finish in 8th place. So we've lost Basin from this race, unfortunately, a retirement there. With a few laps left, Basin there running in P12. But that's now his AI in the car. having thrown in the towel a little way from the end. Mark, in the meantime, has moved up into 4th place here ahead of Freddie. Faulkner still right there on the back of him with Rexy Boy as well. That's Davidoff there making a move for the lead of the race ahead of Glenn for the time being. But yeah, obviously Davidoff with no penalties knows he's got this race as long as he doesn't get any penalties in his final 5 laps of the race. As Freddie's made the move for 4th place there on Mark into turn 1 in the background there. C4 to go around the outside of Rexy Boy, and he's done that one beautifully there as well. Freddie leading this charge down towards the 2nd chicane. He's got the DRS marked there with no DRS, but he's way ahead of C4 and Rexy Boy, who are fighting amongst themselves at the moment. Rexy Boy looking to the inside into the 2nd chicane, but a little bit too far away just there, and has to think better of that one. But Davidoff out front here still with a marginal gap here to Glenn. Matty Pitt just starting to fall off them a little bit at this point. He's still within DRS of Glenn, lost touch a little bit through the middle sector there. Only 8 tenths behind, still just about clinging onto the DRS and still keeping himself in this trio at the moment. But by a thread here. Here we go, Davidoff and Glenn. It's going to be DRS once again here for the championship leader as he looks to the inside and he's going to make this move relatively easily here down towards turn 1. And that's job done once again there for Glenn. So 4 laps left to go, including this one. Glenn with a bit of DRS there, allowing him to extend the gap to Davidoff down towards turn 4. Matty Pitt still keeping these guys in his sights. Less than a second off of the lead at the moment, so it's so tight between these top 3. They have been the class of the field here tonight. They have been on another planet from the others here. That's Mark getting close there on the back of Freddie, but a little bit too far away. They're going into turn 4 at the moment. Mark in the meantime made a move there on Freddie up into 4th place. These two have been chopping and changing for the last few laps. So stands Mark will get 4th, Freddie will drop behind Rex, will be 5th, with Freddie 6th and Fulton the 7th. There's Glenn and Davidoff continuing to swap places here. 3 laps left to go. Let's stay with the leaders here now until the end of the race because we're very, very close here to the checkered flag. 3 laps left, racing laps as Freddie's made the move here on Mark into turn 1. I thought he was up into 4th, and we'll get DRS down the next straight to consolidate that position. But we've got to now stay with the leaders because this is the battle here. Davidoff's got no penalties, but if he were to pick up a penalty and crack under the pressure a bit here, then that would give Glenn a bit of an opportunity. As we see C. Faulkner there moving ahead of Mark up into P5. Raise the Blades got around White Shadow up into 9th. So recovering after that late mishap that we saw. I wonder if soft tyres have gone on Razorblade. Yeah, they have. So that's going to mean that Razorblade's going for the fastest lap. That will take it away from someone else. I don't know who's got the fastest lap at the moment. Oh, it's Glenn. So that'll be massive there because that will deny Glenn the chance to go 100 points clear in the championship if you're able to win. As C. Fulton has moved up into 4th place there ahead of Freddie. But these guys continue to swap positions left, right and centre at the moment. So 2 laps left to go here in this race. Davidoff has got 3 tenths back to Glenn, but Glenn's now going to have DRS down the straight. Is Glenn going to be able to make a move here? A little bit too far away there, going into the 2nd chicane. Freddie there's got ahead of Mark Rexy Boy. DC Faulkner there moving ahead of Rexy Boy up into P6. Always gets a big slide there to see Faulkner. Oh my goodness me! Well, the tyres clearly feeling some sort of pressure there because he just lost it on the getting onto the throttle there, and he's now down to 7th place here. As the guys ahead of him still continue to battle Freddie, Mark, and Rexy Boy. It's Davidoff here, currently leading the train of cars, leading the charge towards the checkered flag. Davidoff, Klen, Matty Pitt, these guys separated by less than a second. Three guys who have put on a phenomenal show here, battling for the win. Matty Pitt will get a podium for his troubles because he's got well over 12 seconds to the next car. Mark currently only 18 seconds behind him in 4th place, so that 12-second penalty won't cost Matty any points or any positions here in this race. As Klen is going to once again make the move here on Davidoff to the outside. He's going to try and go around the long way here. Davidoff goes late on the brakes, manages to keep it beautifully there within track limits and just slid his car in the way there in the absolute perfect spot. Now Matty Pitt is going to try and make the move on Klen, but didn't get a good exit at all out of the first chicane, and that's going to be nothing doing there for Matty. And Davidoff leading here into this second chicane for the final time here in this Mexican Grand Prix here at the Pebble Sector F1 League. Davidoff here has driven absolutely brilliantly. Not a dominant display like his previous win in this league, which occurred way back in Spa, which was, at this point now, that was 3 weeks ago now. So, yeah, 6 races ago. So Davidoff is going to take his long-awaited first win since then. I think it's the longest he's gone without a win so far this season as well. So, yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a welcome return to the top step here. So Davidoff here into the stadium section for the final time. Scott, one of our biggest fans here on the YouTube channel, one of our regular commenters, is coming into the final corner here at the Autodrome of Hermanos Rodriguez, and it's going to be Davidoff to take the checkered flag. He's going to win round 20 of season 12 here for Purple Sector F1 League. Great win there from Davidoff with Klen second and Matty Pitt over to complete the podium. These guys completely obliterated everybody else here tonight. They were totally in control of the race. Freddie is going to come around the final corner here to take 4th place on the track, but it's going to be Rexy Boy over to take 4th place in the end. So actually, yeah, Rexy Boy finishing ahead of Mark there in the end. So Rexy Boy had a storm over the last few laps. Rexy Boy 4th, Mark 5th, Freddie 6th with C Faulkner over in 7th. Next it'll be G.C. who's just coming out at the stadium section now. A couple of seconds ahead of Razorblade, who has done the fastest lap of the race. So that's going to be fast up there for Razorblade. G.C. 8th, Razorblade 9th. And then we're going to have T around the final corner to finish in P10. Although, gets the 9th on the penalties there. So Razorblade 10th. And that is that then, guys, for tonight. That is the race. So great race that was here for this evening's action in the Pebble Sector F1 League here for season 12. It's obviously round 20 of 24. So with Klen there. Gets in, Davidoff, says Neil. We're loving it. Yeah, Davidoff, great drive. Absolutely there, Neil. Too right. Really, really great stuff there. Held his nerve nicely. Didn't get any penalties. Showed great discipline when everybody else was making mistakes. Davidoff taking away ahead of Klen in second with Matty Pitt third. But Klen extends the championship gap to 92 points with just 4 races left. That would mean that Klen would only need P5. Don't think so. No, 92 points. I'm pretty sure. It's not over. 4 races left. Pretty sure he's not going to done it. 25 points for a win, mate. I mean, yeah, realistically, but not mathematically. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it rolls over to the next round. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching, as always, and make sure you join us on Tuesday night for the Brazilian Grand Prix, because that could be where the championship is actually wrapped up. So yeah, thanks again. We'll see you all very, very soon. Good night.